Hello and welcome back to the Nesconset Panthers show, the only show that matters when we're talking about baseball and softball. And you guys are in for a real treat. So do me a favor, if you're watching, let us know in the comments that you can hear and see us. And that's the most important thing, because we don't want to be talking and all of a sudden people are not hearing us, right? So if you guys could just let us know in those comments, blow up the comments right now, say hello, and let us know if you can hear or see us. That would be great. And my little check worked there, so which is cool. But anyway, yeah, welcome back. And we're in the heart of fall season here, and I thought it'd be really cool to bring in one of the other coaches, someone maybe new to you guys that you haven't seen on the show yet. And Bianca, welcome to the show. You've been a really big part of this Panthers community now this past year, and I thought it'd be awesome. Let's introduce Bianca. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure being a part of the Panthers. And as somebody who's not even from Nesconset, it is very, very nice to be welcomed with open arms from everyone.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really great community, and you get to see it with the team that you're coaching, because you got a lively bunch of parents in that group. They're amazing. They're such committed, dedicated parents, and again, you're like really fortunate to have that crew for this next whole year. But tell us a little bit about what team you're coaching right now.
So right now, I'm coaching the 12u Panthers Red, and like you said before, I have the best parents in the world. They're always at every single game. Most of them are at every single practice. Never once are they like getting on the field and, trying to overstep. They just let the coaches do their jobs, and they support their kids just like they're supposed to.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of running a successful team. It's not just having really skilled players and teachable kids. Parents are a big part of the travel sort of community. And when you have an entire team and parents that are sort of on board with the coaches, it just makes for a much more successful run. And so you guys are really fortunate to have that. Now, talk about a little bit your backgrounds. Softball, like how is softball is softball part of your life? Like, did you ever play softball? Give us that background.
So I started softball at the age of 9 in Little League, and my dad coached me. He taught me how to catch. I was a lefty, so he made it every part of every single time that we caught that I will be a lefty catcher. He wanted to make sure that I utilized my skills, even though in this sport it's not very easy to be a lefty for most positions. And I'm very grateful for that. It's been a very frustrating time being a lefty sometimes, but for the most part, I've been able to utilize one of the unique features that I possess just from birth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of my daughters are a lefty as well. And where it does come with challenges, it also comes with some advantages as a lefty, which is nice. Now, what was your position?
So I started like everyone, probably outfield, because I was 9 and I was playing with like 15-year-olds. But when I finally got to travel, I started at about 11. I was in 12u, and I started as a catcher because my Little League team had no catchers
Is that
all.
right?
I kind of got thrown there one day because everyone was crying and didn't want to do it.
Oh, my gosh.
And I liked it.
Yeah.
I really liked being there. I did not like pitching.
Yeah.
That was too much pressure. But I loved being the leader on the field. I loved being able to always be involved in every single play.
Yeah.
So I was a catcher basically until I was 17 when I got injured and I had to stop playing to recover. But other than catching, I did love first base a lot.
You did.
And that was one of those positions where you have an advantage.
Oh,
for once.
absolutely.
I did play a lot of left field too, and I did love that as well.
Okay. Now, a lefty catcher, that's not common. It's not common to have a catcher that is lefty. So that's amazing. So that's really cool that you're able to sort of have a lot of success as a lefty catcher.
Honestly, you have to play smarter rather than traditional because everything is slightly different, and sometimes it is a little bit more difficult. I was constantly going as a catcher against righty batters. Yep. So the arm path is literally
into the righty hitter.
Righty hitter.
Exactly.
My arm is here. So I had to get really, really good at getting in front of the plate, throwing my arm, doing fancy things like throwing for my knees. So I feel like being a lefty teaches you a lot of skills that a lot of righties wouldn't have the normal opportunity to actually do.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Very, very cool. All right, so that's your background. Now, talk a little bit. I know this, but everyone else doesn't know. Talk a little bit about how you come to sort of know about Nesconset Panthers. How did you get involved with us? Let's go back to that first meeting. I remember what it was. I don't know if you remember, but let's see. I'm going to test you now. You remember that first time that we got to sort of work together?
Oh, you're
It's a
making me
test.
think a while.
I'm putting her on the spot here.
I do remember the first time that I ever went to a Panther field.
Yes.
Was from the Long Island Sports Zone Clinic.
Yes. Yes.
And that was actually like my first time really stepping on a softball field.
Yeah.
Since my injury. So
Oh, wow.
I had a lot of mental issues just kind of like getting back on a field
Yeah,
from that.
sure.
And I was blessed with the opportunity to go to these clinics and have a more relaxed environment where I could just have fun with the kids. And I think I met you probably there in the morning beforehand.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved doing the clinic. And at the end of the first hour where the coaches kind of stopped coaching, it was a kids game.
Yes.
Like a scrimmage against
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you were animated. It was so awesome to see like some grown man actually care and like be there reffing for everybody. It was amazing.
Yeah. I try to add as much energy and excitement as I possibly can into those moments because I feel like their excitement is going to be a reflection of your excitement. So if I can help them feel excited and feel safe about being, animated and really into the game, then it'll help them. And that's sort of my style in those environments, especially those younger kid environments. That's what they need. They just need encouragement, So, but yes, I do. That is the first time. It was definitely the clinic. And I remember seeing you work with the kids and I was like, she knows her stuff. She's able to communicate and the kids are listening to her. We need her, because those are three big things when it comes to being able to teach and coach, right? So you got those three things and you had it and we're like, oh, we've got to bring her on board. And, we had known back then our plan, we had this plan in place that we wanted to introduce new type of travel for our kids. We had baseball. We were like, all right, we got to reintroduce softball travel. And we knew that in order for us to do this successfully, we needed to bring in people that had lots of experience in that arena, in the softball travel arena. And, we weren't going to be able to coach every team. Like I couldn't coach every single team, right? So, and that's why we're like, oh, she's earmarked. She's in. Whatever it takes, we got to bring her in because she's so good with these kids. And we also knew, and this was something I picked up on about you, is you really love this.
Absolutely.
Like that's the one thing I can tell. It wasn't just, all right, she's great at what she does. She knows her stuff. She's able to communicate. The kids listen. But now she loves this. She genuinely cares about the kids. And this is why I think you're getting a lot of success on the field, right? So let's talk a little bit about why you're doing this. Like, why are you involved? Why do you work so hard to create a really great environment for these kids? Because you're invested. I know the behind the scenes stuff. Like, you are so invested into this.
So as cheesy as it's going to sound, I try to be the coach that I never had. My father was amazing, don't get me wrong, but he never played softball. He played a little bit of baseball. It wasn't like he had that technical training. So my parents had to put me in travel if I wanted to grow. Yeah. And some of my coaches were better than others. Sure. But for the most part, they just didn't really care. They were burnt out. They've been coaching for like 50 years in college. Right. They just didn't really care. Sure. And honestly, from what I've seen growing up, I think it is very, very helpful to have a female coach on the field as well. Not to say that males can't.
No, I totally agree with that.
But it absolutely helps for the kids to actually see somebody going through the things they are. Yeah. Because in baseball, it's a little different. Yeah. You grow up thinking you can eventually be on the Yankees or the Mets. You have all these amazing plans. Your parents are super supportive because they think that could be a feasible career in the future that actually can pay your bills if you were good enough. Yeah. So they invest all this money in for softball. You don't have that. Yeah. You don't have an MLB. At most, you have college, and that won't pay bills most of the time anyways. But once you're done with college, there's literally nowhere to go. So a lot of kids burn out or they push themselves too hard before just to get through college knowing that there's nothing left. I was one of those kids, and I pushed myself too hard beforehand because nobody really stopped me. Yeah. And it basically made me unable to even enjoy my college experience. And then COVID happened, so that was even worse. But for the most part, I just try to make sure that the kids don't make the same mistakes that I did. Yeah. And not all of the mistakes I made were like on purpose. It is so easy to get hurt in sports, especially when coaches aren't looking at every single thing. And it's not always the coach's fault. Sometimes things just happen. That's right. So I try really hard to just make sure that all the kids have an opportunity to learn the sport, enjoy it, but be safe about it.
Yeah. And you want the passion that you have to also you want the kids to have that same passion, and so like proof of that you're so successful in having your passion something that now the kids are picking up on and they're becoming passionate about it as well. Check this out. Like there's a bunch of live comments rolling in, and we're gonna add them here. Let me see if I can adjust this so that everyone can kind of see them.
It's always Jamie. Always.
Jamie's awesome. So we've got Jamie in right here. Oh, let me just make it a little bit of adjustment. There we go. We got Jamie. Jamie says, "We love you, Bianca." And then we've got Claudine. "We love you, Bianca." We got Bess. "We love you." A lot of love. My goodness. You're getting a lot of love here.
Enough before, but
yes.
I have the best parents.
You
ever.
absolutely do. You got Lauren in here. "Bianca is the best." We've got Christine. We've got "We love you" a lot. Again, lots of love. Another big one here. "Our girls are so lucky to have you and what you bring to our team. Great coaching, so much fun, and we truly feel you want the very best for our girls. You're amazing." I mean, it's just one after the other. When you read the comments like this from the parents, how does that make you feel?
I won't even lie to you. It makes it feel like everything's worth it.
Yeah.
I went through a lot of struggle with coaches. I honestly never liked my teams growing up. So it makes me very happy when I see all the girls hanging out for trampoline parties at someone's house, or the parents are talking and not fighting. Everything is just very, very peaceful. And it makes me very, very happy that the parents are happy.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to support your kid when you don't agree with the things that are happening.
Yeah. When
you feel like your money's being wasted and your kids aren't being watched. So it's very nice to actually know that the parents care as much as I do as well.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible. I mean, listen, the perfect litmus test, the perfect testament to, how well you're doing is just reading those comments right there, and so it's incredible. Obviously, the hardest thing I think you're going to have is always wanting to keep all these parents together, right? These parents be like, "All I want is Bianca."
Yep.
Nope, I'm not. It doesn't matter. I only want Bianca, And but when you get that kind of response, that means you're doing your job, right?
Yep.
And that means that the kids are learning. The kids are loving the game of softball, right? In a world where there's lots of distractions, there's lots of things going on, you're able to focus them in on one task, playing softball together as a community. And you're a mentor. You really are. You're a mentor to these kids, and you're doing a great job, and the parents are appreciating you for it. So also, on behalf of the organization, we are so grateful. I've said this to you many times. We are so grateful for you.
I've never felt disrespected here, and I think that's the most important thing. Because if adults can't treat adults right, how are they treating the kids?
Well put. That should be on like a fortune cookie, by the way.
Can we put like Convery Industries?
Yeah. Sure. Why not? Now let's talk about, how as coaches, how do we as coaches measure success for a team? It's important because I want to give some perspective here, because I don't think that the way that coaches measure success is the same for all coaches, but I think for good coaches that are invested in their teams, I feel like for the most part success is pretty much aligned there. So how would you measure success for the team? For anyone that's watching here that maybe is not even a part of our organization, and maybe they're not having a great experience elsewhere, and they're sort of trying to get a feeler for what is the Nesconset Panthers about. How do you measure success for your team?
So I think the hardest thing about being a coach is making sure that you actually give every single kid what they need. Different kids have different needs. And the easiest part about all of that is you yourself can talk to them.
Yeah.
If you don't have like an assistant coach, or I'm blessed with an amazing co-coach, Rich Massa. If you don't have that kind of support additionally, it's very easy to miss certain kids just because you can't reach every single one at the same time. So I think for me, it's really about making sure that after they step on that field every day, they are happy to be there. They might come to practice tired from school, but when they leave, they're absolutely proud of themselves. They're energetic. They're very, very happy to see their friends. And then when they leave that field, they learn something new. They improved in some way. I don't care if it's sliding one day and they did horrible batting. I don't care if the next time they hit a grand slam but they couldn't catch a ball. It's something is improving every single day, even if it's just mentally.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. And something that I want to add and clarify for people is that, and we were talking about it before the show, success is not just measured in W's and wins.
Absolutely.
Because something that's not, I feel like, talked about enough is you can actually have success even with a loss.
Mm-hmm.
There's things to lose when you learn when you lose, right? So you can learn how to handle disappointment. Right. So now these are life things that you can learn by way of a game, how to handle, losing in a situation with dignity and with respect. And what are things that we can take from that loss to get better? And that's, guess what, how we win next time, how we win later on. So we can even win when you lose a game. And I don't think that's talked about enough. We recently, the 14u, we played a game and we beat the other team. And after the game, the team of coaches that they had were really hard on the kids. And they kept them there for a really long time. The kids all left with their heads in their faces. They were clearly really, really upset, and they left defeated. They didn't leave that moment with any victory. And that's why I always try to have an inspiring moment after even we lose a game and we have our huddle. Hey, we can acknowledge the things we can get better at, right? And that doesn't mean that we are anyone's in trouble here. We need to be able to have that moment where we can be honest about it. But what are the things that you did well? How can we learn? We have to leave inspired, because I think as coaches, that's on us. Are we helping the kids feeling inspired and good and encouraged, where they will we lost today, but I'm coming back tomorrow and I'm going to make the difference, for my team. So which is a big thing. So, and I know that you recently, with the 12u, you guys played in a tournament.
Yes.
Now, I got to be honest, this is one thing, one of the great things about Game Changer, and I think there's a lot of great things. I get to watch these games even when I'm not there. And I'm going to be honest, I was stalking you guys.
Yep.
And we've
throwing your remote, right?
Without a doubt.
We make an error, you're throwing your
Oh
iPad.
my gosh,
Yep.
absolutely. It's crazy. I remember even before the tournament, this was a few weeks before that, you guys were playing in a game, and I'm literally at Citi Field with my whole family, my triplets, my wife. We're at Citi Field. We've got amazing seats. We're in the 12th row behind the dugout, and you know what I'm watching? Your game.
Yep.
Literally, my wife took a picture of me and the kids huddled around my phone watching your game, because we're so invested, and we love this, right? So let's talk a little bit about your tournament, because I watched every single moment of it. It was like nail biters. It was incredible, and I think this is really in line with what we're talking about here. Where was the success for your team during this tournament?
So just to say first,
yeah,
I was stalking your game from 2 nights ago or something.
Oh my goodness!
I think it was the Chiefs game.
Yes, yeah.
I wasn't able to watch every single second of it.
Yeah,
but every time I came back, you guys had some crazy out at the plate.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Great hit. So kudos there. That's all I had to say.
Thanks, yeah.
But I think that for me, for the kids to be able to even compete at this level, being so new, that is already a win. Yep. And I have a problem with looking for wins.
Yeah.
I actually am a little bit too relaxed about that. That's why it's good to have a co-coach to help you.
Oh, yeah.
But for the most part, I wasn't even looking to win. I was solely looking to make sure that the kids actually put all their practice to the test, and they felt good about themselves after the game.
Yes.
And there were a million ups and downs. You have different errors. You have amazing hits. You never know what's going to happen in the game. And I think that the best thing to teach them is to stay invested, to support each other. If a girl strikes out, I want every single person to tell her good job. I'm going to talk to her later in more private.
Yeah.
Just to help her figure out what to do better. But I don't want them ever thinking that they're a terrible player because they made a mistake or because something just didn't work out.
Right.
Softball and baseball are very difficult sports.
Yeah.
There's a lot of probability involved. There's a lot of luck involved. So taking every single play to heart is just unattainable.
Yep.
It doesn't really make sense, but we all care so deeply, we get lost in the moment sometimes.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, I'm blessed to have parents who weren't screaming and flipping out on their kids. We saw some teams that were way, way too negatively involved in their teams. And all of my parents were very upset just watching that.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the culture that is built here. You don't have coaches screaming at the kids, like you said. You didn't leave that team meeting with them crying. You made sure to talk to them. You made sure to make them feel better. And I think that's the most important thing for any coach to do or parent, because these kids are very impressionable.
Oh, that's
And
so true.
when they're 20, I'm 22.
Yeah.
I still remember every single time a coach screamed at us.
Yep.
I remember all the times that a girl left crying because a coach just did something that really, really upset her and they didn't help them.
Yeah.
So when they're old, I want them to remember this season as one of the seasons. Hopefully they have more. But if they never have a good season again, I want them to remember this season as the happiest time of their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I love actually how you just framed that. You want them to leave this season being the happiest moment of their lives. And I too, like, that's our philosophy, is going into every single game as that's that moment for them. It could be that moment. And, you know, also to give everyone perspective, like, especially for the 12U, you're dealing with 11 and 12-year-olds. They're still kids.
We have 12.
You have 12.
I think we have 12, yeah.
Yeah. So they're kids, right? These are kids.
Some of them are literally 10-year-olds who just turned 11.
That's
as well.
actually right.
Yep.
You do have some. That's great. You do have 10-year-olds as well on your 12U team. So, you know, these are young kids, and, you know, they're all at a moment in their life where they're also coming into their own and maturing, and it's an emotional time for them as well. And to be able to have a solid sort of mentoring group in you and Rich to help guide these kids in this important, very critical time in their life is invaluable. I mean, this is huge, and this is why, like, as part of our mission statement, we say, you know, Nesconset Panthers is a place where we want every single child to have an opportunity to learn, play, and grow, and that is something that we, like, adhere to obsessively, because we understand it's, you know, where we want the kids to do well on the field, and of course we want to win games. We want to be competitive. We do want to be there, right? We feel we could do both. We could be really competitive, but also use this as a vehicle to teach kids life lessons. And I think when you do both, I think that's where magic happens. I think that's when you're going to get more out of kids than just softball. And I was actually telling my group this. My 14U, this team, this past week, because listen, like every other team, I don't care if you're the 27 Yankees, you're going to lose a game, and you're going to have times where you're going to struggle. And we went through a period about a week or so ago where we were struggling. And I said, here's something that's so cool and unique and special about softball. It's not a one-person sport. We got a group of girls, and we all get to rely on each other. That means we're going to share in our successes, and we're going to, you know, share in our struggles. But here's the thing. When we realize that we've got a team, a community, an army, we can pull ourselves out of the mud then, right? So and all of a sudden, that's when you turn things around. And we went into the Chiefs game, and we took that game too. It was awesome. You know, it's rock solid. So that's another reason why I love softball and baseball, is you got a team thing. You got a lot of different personalities on the team. You get to sort of see how they mix, and you get to, you know, give kids an opportunity to do something that they've maybe never have done before. You know, which is kind of cool. And I will say, as someone who is, I have more of a background in baseball. I played baseball at a very high level. Baseball was my life. I can honestly say now, and I was a pitcher, and I threw pretty hard too. I was a prospect, right? Softball pitching is harder. I'll say it. Oh my gosh, softball pitching is legit.
So I've had this fight with my brother. He's an amazing pitcher. Like, honestly, could get drafted like any moment now.
Yes.
He somehow learned how to softball pitch.
What?
Before I could.
No.
How ridiculous is that? Just take a second to let that sink in. He was 7, and he was bored at all of my tournaments because I was every single week at a tournament.
Yeah.
He's softball pitching better than I ever could. To this day, I can't softball pitch. Ask my girls. They make fun of me every day.
It's rough. It's hard.
It's very hard. And
it is.
I can't say that batting against a baseball pitcher is easier. Like, for me as a softball player, my brother's pitched me before, and I'm terrified to step near him with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Sure. But I do know that the distinct differences between softball pitching, like rise balls, make it a completely different game.
Well, even just the distance. So with baseball, it's 60 feet 6 inches to home plate. In softball, depending on the age group, like 12U is 40 feet, 14U is 43 feet. That's a lot closer.
And until they literally die, they will always be at 43 feet. So they get stronger, but they're at the same distance every time.
43 feet. You have a half of a second to make a decision on whether or not to swing, and then in that half a second, you got to be on a perfect line with that ball. It is such a hard game to play, And, honestly, I got to tip my cap to all of these kids that are playing. And when they get up and they're tough in there and they muscle out hits, because they make the game look easy. Like our girls on our teams, they do. They make the game look easy. But it's not. It is a hard game. And that's why when you're in it and like I'm watching Game Changer, I'm watching your games, or I'm coaching a game in person and some amazing thing happen, like I become so excited because I understand how hard it is.
Because you played it.
Because I played it. And so when I see that stuff, I'm animated, like, and I try to tell the girls, like, like good, bad, and ugly, when things happen, I'm also going to be equally emotional because I'm so invested in your game, so don't look at it my coach sometimes is a little crazy because he's like getting so excited for us, or maybe I am disappointed and I'm like, I know you can do better. Mm-hmm. It's just because I know how hard the game is and I know how hard you're trying. And we also know the more that we work with our girls, and we can sort of end on this a little bit, is the more we work with our girls, we also learn their potential, right? And when sometimes we see the girls not playing to their potential because maybe they're losing their confidence, and trying to help them to realize you are that good. You are capable of making that play. You are capable. I see that in you even if you don't see it right now, right? So let's talk a little bit about that, being able to see some amazing potential in some of these girls and that moment. I don't know about you, but I'll say for me, and then maybe you can add to it. Something that is like such a great moment for me is when I get to witness in person, a girl realize her potential in something and then execute on it, I get pumped. Like when we give like little tips, like turn on your backside, don't open up so much, like all these little tips, and all of a sudden they do it, and then it actually works. It's like victory, and I love those moments and get to being a part of it. Let's talk a little bit from your perspective when you get to see that. What is it like?
So when you said that, the first thought I had was this one play at the end of our last tournament game. Our second baseman, Abby, she caught a ball. And I won't lie to you, I thought she was going to drop it just because it was such a far, weird hit.
Oh, yeah.
There was more of a chance to drop it than there was to catch it.
Sure.
Even if I trusted her to catch it. It was just a hard hit ball.
Yeah.
She caught it.
Wow.
And I was shocked. I just kind of stood there I can't believe she just did that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And Rich starts yelling. Did you just catch that? And I thought he was mad at first. I'm like, why are you mad? He was so happy and proud of her.
Yeah.
And he literally expressed it as if he was angry. That's how emotional you get.
Sure.
I remember earlier in that tournament,
a
girl, Mia, she was playing first base.
Yeah.
And she was having a bit of confidence issues leading up to this point, just because she was one of the 10-year-olds in 12u now. So I've been working with her for a while.
Yeah.
Even since last season.
Yeah.
And I knew her potential, but I knew that she was, not fully realizing it, and she was slowly starting to just become more upset with that.
Sure.
She caught a million balls.
Wow.
Throughout the tournament at first base. I can't tell you how badly I wanted to just pick her up and spit her out. I was so proud of her.
Yeah.
So I think those are the moments that you live for as a coach.
Yep.
Knowing that you helped these girls realize that potential.
Yeah.
And like I said before, they might never play again. They might quit next season because they just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
They might go to college and play it forever. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I know that in this moment,
Yes.
that they had the time of their lives, and they really, really learned how to handle things like disappointment. All of my pitchers were ready to cry at multiple points throughout the season, or they did cry.
Yep.
I'm going to throw Maria's name out there because I see her cry 50 times a day. But everyone is a crier at this age because they're emotional. And it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And it's teaching them how to use those emotions in a positive way.
Yeah.
Don't go home and throw your bat at your lantern chandelier thing and then break your house up.
Yeah.
Go to the batting cage and work on it.
Yeah.
Making sure that the next pitch that comes, you're focused and you're ready to handle it.
Absolutely. I mean, that is such really, really good advice. And I remember when I coached the 12U girls over the summer, I think we carried 14 girls on the roster over the summer. I think 12 of the 14 girls at some point in time cried. It's just that time, and it's fine. I didn't know how to handle it myself as a coach.
I never cried. I refused to cry. I was a lacrosse player. You don't cry. You just get bruised.
Yes, exactly. I'm not a crier either.
I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
Please, girls, hug each other, do something, please.
When it would happen, I'm like, they're there now.
Yep.
Mom. And listen, it's okay, and they'll work through the emotions and figure it out. But it is a hard thing for them to sort of go through. But one advice, like if any kids are listening, or even parents, you can share this, is if your child is going through any type of moment of adversity and it's leading them to start losing their confidence, and that loss of confidence is setting them down a path where they're like, I want to quit. That is fraud. And I'll say, and I'll explain. It's fraud. It's emotional fraud, because you're letting emotions dictate your next move. And what I would always recommend is let time heal that, and then make a more rational, logical decision. Because if we make emotional decisions because, we're sort of sad in a moment, or maybe we made an error, or we struck out a bunch of times, and then that is leading to lack of confidence, and now we're crying and I want to quit. Well, you're not giving yourself a chance. You're letting the emotions get the best of you, and that has now power over your decision. Let's not empower that emotion, and let's let some time sort of pass, and let the coaches do their thing. Let the other girls on their team do their thing, and rally behind that player. And then in time, whether it be a day, a couple weeks, it might even take a couple months, but I promise it'll come full circle, and then she'll realize, you know what? That was just a moment, or maybe that was just a slump, or that was just one hit, and she'll be grateful that she didn't quit then, right? So you're not giving yourself a chance if you're quit. I think, sports like softball, I think, is so unique in that it's a really great opportunity for your kid to develop as a human being and be better for it, because you're going to learn, like we said before, the proper way how to handle disappointment, how to handle losses. But what's great? You're also going to develop friendships and a sense of community that you don't have anywhere else, and a lot of the friends that I have to this day are friends that I had because of baseball. Kids that I played with when I was 10 years old, I'm still very close with now, and I'm 43. Those are my closest friends, and those are the friends that I leaned on through thick and thin later on in life as well. And so that's another thing I think that as parents, we need to see the value in being able to be a part of a team like they are in your team. It is a gift, and where is it work? 100%. Is it going to be hard? Yeah. Our promise is not that the process is going to be easy. The process is going to be hard, but our promise is worth it. Bingo, is that it's worth it.
I think the most important thing that I have to add to that is, as a kid who was a multi-sport athlete, had a million AP classes, was first chair violin and like 3 orchestras, it is so stressful.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I think stress is good to build your character, to make you, test your limits, push yourself farther. But I think that it's so easy to fall down and have those moments where you just want to quit. I can't tell you how many times that, because I had such a poor support system in my sports, like my teams weren't very fun, my coaches didn't really care. The only people I had were my parents, but that's not on a field with you, right? And you're 12 or you're 10 or you're 14.
Yeah.
Everything is the most important thing in the world to you right now. So I can't tell you how many times I almost quit. But if I quit, I wouldn't be here now.
Right.
And I wouldn't have met the people I did.
So true.
I wouldn't have played all the games I have, had made friends as an adult with all the teammates I have.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've learned more losing in a sport than I ever have from winning.
Wow.
I've learned more hurting myself and having to recover from these injuries and learn how to play around the injuries than I ever did when I wasn't injured.
Yeah.
And I just had it easy and I got to naturally just be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, by the way, for sharing that, because I think that there's definitely a couple of parents that needed to hear that. That's really, really good advice there. 2 more questions and then we'll close out. I know this has been a fun discussion. We got to have you back, by the way. You're amazing. You're amazing on the show. And you've got so much wisdom to offer parents and kids. But first question of the last 2 is, what's next for the 12u-Red team? What does the next 6 months look like for you guys?
So we have winter workouts coming up, which is going to be lots and lots and lots of practice. Wintertime is really not fun for most baseball, softball people. I'm hoping that they'll enjoy this little time off to relax. I think
it's also cold, so you're indoors
important.
a lot.
Absolutely. So in my opinion, I hate playing on turf. I just don't like it. That is the worst part of winter for me.
Yeah.
But it's getting to stay with your friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It might not be as, fulfilling as like being on the dirt, playing
Yes.
games, but it's keeping them active. It's
Yeah.
keeping them out of trouble. It's keeping them focused. So I think that winter workouts are something to look forward to. It's also probably going to be the first time that some of these kids have ever experienced that. So it's always cool to have a new thing.
Yep.
After that, Rich and I are definitely planning on entering more tournaments. I know that everyone was upset, like in a good way, that we didn't win our tournament.
Sure.
So I think it's the perfect time to now focus and really try to win another one coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the fall, I've always looked at the fall, whether it be even when I was a player and later on as a coach. For me, the fall was an opportunity for me to work on stuff. And I know some people look at fall differently, but that's how I always sort of like approached fall is all right, I'm going to take all those things that I did now spring and summer. I'm going to take my notes and be like, all right, what are the things I need to work on? And now I'm going to try to like make those changes in the fall. And then in the winter, it's fine tuning. For me, winter is all about fine tuning that nitty gritty stuff. For hitters, lots of tee work. Oh my God, hit thousands of ball off a tee. Kids don't realize the importance of tee work. That I every time I remember I break out the tee for at least our team, they're like, "Oh my God, more tee work."
I refused to use that as a kid. I was like, "You're a wimp if you're using a tee.
Right.
Go from a pitcher." Dumbest advice ever. Don't listen to that. But I was 12, so and I did that until I was 17.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a horrible swing because I just naturally was good.
Yeah.
But knowing what I know now,
gosh.
I looked like a fool. So
Yeah.
I do believe that tee work is one of the most important things ever.
Oh my
And
gosh,
it helps
yeah.
build your confidence.
Yes. Yeah,
It
yeah.
makes it that muscle memory. So now when you go in a game,
Yep.
all you have to do is trust it.
Exactly. And so that's what, winter workouts are for. The fine tuning, lots of tee work for our hitters, mechanics, really tearing apart mechanics. I don't like changing mechanics a lot, like big changes during a season. I think it really messes with athletes when you make dramatic changes, like in the middle of league play. Because it's hard for them to make that adjustment, and you're going to see then kids have longer periods of time where they're in a slump. So I like to limit my mechanical changes, but in the winter, oh, no way. I go for broke, and it's major changes mechanically in both, for all positions, actually.
For the most part, I'd say that for fall and sometimes spring, depending on when your season started.
Yeah.
I try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But my biggest pet peeve is when I see kids, and it's not their fault, but like they just don't know better.
Yeah.
But when I see kids doing something that's going to hurt them.
Oh,
so like
yeah.
they throw it a sidearm.
That's true. Yes.
They step the wrong way.
Yep.
They run the bases wrong. Like
Yes.
things like that
Yes.
that are 1,000% going to get them hurt one day. Those are the only things that I focus on. And
Yes.
everything else, I hope that they can learn
Correct.
kind of through osmosis.
Yep.
Like in the middle
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
yeah,
game.
yeah.
And just like you said, winter is the time to really work on everything.
Yes.
So that way by spring and summer,
Yeah.
they're just ready to go.
Absolutely.
All they have to focus on is just applying.
Yes. Yeah, and for all the kids that are new to travel, right, and they've never played spring before and summer, or maybe they played summer but they never played spring, you are going to notice right away the teams that had winter workouts and the teams that did not in the spring. You will notice it.
You notice
game
it
one.
even in fall.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Which coaches actually took the time
Yes.
to teach them how to hit, to teach them
Yes.
how to run, teach
Yep.
them how to do like a double play, things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, all those little things like rundowns.
Yep.
A lot of teams are not coaching fundamentals really that much, and fundamentals win and lose games actually. And so it's you'll notice this right away, and that's why like parents, if you've never gone through the travel thing before and you're hearing like, oh, we got our winter workouts and whatnot, understand how important and valuable it is going to be for your kids, because they're going to be more prepared than a large majority of the other kids that are not going to have that, and they're going to go into spring just with an advantage. And they're going to just do that much. They're going to be that much better because of that.
It's also such a hard thing to acquire. I can't tell you how many teams fight to the death to try to get a space to even do winter workouts,
yeah.
how expensive it is.
Yep.
So anyone who's able to actually go to a cage and even just bat, like not even do fielding, just bat, that alone you should be grateful for.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is so hard to find spaces.
Yep.
On Long Island in the last 10 years, they've improved that
Yeah.
a lot. But like when I was growing up,
Yeah.
you couldn't go to a field unless it was in Nassau. There was very few fields in Suffolk, and 90% of them were used for baseball anyways.
Yeah.
Any turf fields, because back then there weren't as many,
Yep.
only for baseball.
Yep.
Never would a softball team play there.
Yeah.
I must have played on turf in travel.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 times.
Yeah.
So it's learning how to play on turf now that all the fields in school ball mainly are all changing to turf.
Yep.
Huge advantage.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll go back even more, because I played, so obviously I played Little League in the 80s and 90s, and then I played, high school and college in the 90s and the early 2000s. There were no turf fields.
Yep.
Like, literally, I never got to play on a turf field at all.
And now all the baseball guys have to play on
Right,
turf.
and now there's turf fields everywhere, and so these kids are really spoiled by the way when it comes to that. But bringing that up, it's also another good point about the Nesconset Panthers. The fact that we have our own facility, our own fields, that we've got a partnership with Long Island Sports Zone, we have our own indoor facility. It is huge.
You guys are very lucky.
We are
and I
so
don't
fortunate.
mean to say that like you should be scared.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams just don't have the ability to acquire these fields.
Yep. Yeah. And now the fact that we are building. We're in the literally on like construction right now. We're building a turf field. So not only do we have our own complex, now we're going to have our own turf field, which means our rainouts are going to be limited. That's huge. So it's a big deal. And by the way, as far as turf field, I don't like outfield turf, and we are not doing outfield turf. It's going to be natural grass. Yes.
Thank you.
We are keeping the grass for the outfield. The infield is going to be turf. Because I feel like that's a little bit more true now to the actual game. Yeah. This way, if the ball hits a gap, it's not going to be rolling all the time, and then it's an instant, automatic home run. I don't like that.
If anybody's played on turf when it's like raining or it's dark and dewy outside,
oh gosh,
so dangerous.
Slick.
In my opinion, all you do is slide.
Very, very slick.
Especially because some kids don't realize. In my opinion, it's better to wear sneakers. Mm-hmm. They do make turf cleats.
Yes.
But sometimes you don't have time to get those.
Yeah.
So you wear your sneakers. You just have a way better time on turf.
Yeah.
When you wear the molded like plastic cleats.
Yeah.
Those gaps go sliding even
worse.
It's like you're on like a soccer field in pouring rain.
Yeah. They actually, you're right, because they don't grip turf because they're not made for turf.
They're made for dirt, exactly.
Correct.
Or like grass and
ground.
ground.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's safer for the outfielders, honestly, to have cleats.
Yeah.
And the infielders like sneakers.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, we've had an amazing discussion here. We still have some amazing comments rolling in. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Nesconset Panthers show. And let's one more time give it up. Coach Bianca, you are so amazing. You're very quickly becoming a legend here, by the way.
I appreciate that.
And the coach that everyone wants.
I hope it's from all the times that I got bullied by my teams for randomly falling, sliding at practice, getting beat in races because the girls are way too fast.
Oh, my goodness.
So I hope it's because of that. Or else that was worthless.
Yes, yeah. And by the way, have you had like a kid-parent game yet?
We're going to.
Okay. Those are a lot of fun.
If the rain would let us, I would like to have it this Sunday.
It's crazy. We haven't touched dirt for a practice, I feel like, in weeks because of the rain around here. I've got 14U. We finally have a practice tonight. Now, you have a game tonight.
We do.
And I know a good number of the girls from the 14U, by the way, we're going to be coming. We're going to be cheering you guys on. Oh, yeah. So yeah, we got to cheer you guys on the victory there. You guys are going to do really, really well. So it's awesome. But one more time, this is Coach Bianca, coach of the 12u-Red team. This is our travel team, our fastpitch travel team for Nesconset Panthers. And if you'd like to learn more about Nesconset Panthers, what we're about, all the programs that we've got available, because we're not just travel, although we have a really great travel program. We've got in-house that runs various seasons. We've got clinics and workshops, and we've also have an amazing partnership with Long Island Sports Zone. And these are like the trainers and professionals. Like, by the way, you are there as well.
Yes.
And so if you'd like to learn more about that, just visit nesconsetaa.com. AA stands for Athletic Association. So nesconsetaa.com. You can learn about all of the stuff that we have. We've got a lot of great programs, all ages, from pre-K all the way up through 12th grade for both baseball and softball. But check that out. And if you would like to be on Bianca's team, tough. She's already filled. For now, though.
I'm sorry. I like my parents too much. I'm not replacing any one of them. It's not happening.
But yeah, I mean, so definitely keep an eye out on us. We're going to be having tryouts. In the spring, by the way, maybe there's some teams that we want to go ahead and backfill, and some other opportunities of even creating more teams, because for some age divisions, we actually have multiple teams in certain age divisions, like the 12U. We do have two 12U teams for softball, which is awesome. Again, if our philosophy is trying to give as many kids an opportunity to learn, play, and grow, more kids want to play, then we're going to field another team and give them that opportunity to do that, which is very, very cool. Bianca, appreciate you. You're amazing. Any last parting words for a family who has a child either that's not playing right now, or a family that has a child that is in a place where they're just discouraged with where they're playing and they might be looking for something else? What is a piece of advice that you'd like to give them?
Nothing is permanent. I thought that when I was growing up, I had this linear path where I was going to go from elementary to middle school to high school, play sports my whole life, go to college, play in, maybe if the Olympics ever came, I could play in that. None of that happened in the way that I thought it was.
Sure.
And it's not supposed to.
Yeah.
I think that things happen for a reason.
Yep.
And they're built to kind of test you, to make you do certain things that you might never have thought were important to you.
Yeah.
And now you figure out what is. So don't think that it's the end all be all. That's the beauty of playing for multiple years. That's the beauty of life itself, is getting more time to just learn, try new things. You might be having a rough patch in softball. Maybe it's time to try another sport.
Yeah.
I'm not saying give up on softball, but you might learn a bunch of things in the other sport. You might love it. Maybe you go to college for that.
Yeah.
And then softball you could play on the side.
Yeah.
Maybe after a season you take a break, you build your strength mentally and physically. Now you come back and you're a brand new player. So just work hard for the things you want and give yourself a chance to actually grow. Like you said earlier, it's having that ability to actually grow in time. It's never going to happen in a week. So just make sure you give yourself that chance, because fear is the worst possible thing to hold you back. And you will regret it for the rest of your life.
100%. And don't let fear govern your life, without a doubt. And honestly, if you have any doubts, talk to your coaches.
Absolutely.
Don't go through this alone. If there's a one theme from today's show, is that softball being a team sport, you got players, you got coaches, and amazing parents that you can lean on to help you through the various things. Don't internalize it. Definitely include people around. Take advantage of that support system, and honestly, you'll be better for it. But Panthers, go Panthers! By the way, they're awesome. You're gonna win tonight.
Thank you so much.
I'm already saying it. I'm like, all right.
You got the game changer
I'm ready to go, and I'm gonna be at your game. By the way, I'm not
Thank
I'm not doing a game changer. I'm gonna be in person. I'm bringing my popcorn. I'm gonna bring my Panthers flag. I'm
gotta bring
decked
a
out.
bullhorn.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I'm gonna be the biggest, loudest fan there. So we're gonna win that award if anything. So it's awesome. So go Panthers. You guys are going to be great.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Thank you guys again for tuning in. And listen, check out nesconsetaa.com for all of the stuff that's coming up. And then we'll end also as a reminder, we do have a fundraiser going on. There are so many families that are doing such a great job with this fundraiser. And just to add some clarity, this is a fundraiser that benefits the kids in travel. This is just a travel-based fundraiser, and it helps the kids with the costs so that they can play in more tournaments and the fees and all that other stuff. And whereas as an organization, we literally have the lowest travel organization fees across all of Long Island. But we want to do better, and that's why we do these fundraisers, because we want to make it even better. We want to make it as close to free as possible. So take advantage of the fundraisers. And if you don't have a kid involved but you want to help, find a kid that's involved, get their link, and you can donate to them, and then it goes right to them as well. But appreciate you guys. Enjoy your, is today a Wednesday?
Wednesday.
There you go. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
One of us has a watch that tells them what it is.
No watch. No watch. So yes, guilty as charged there. But enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Good luck tonight, and go Panthers. Take care, guys.